So my poster is a systematic review that we conducted. So among cancer carers, there's often high rates of distress, but very few actually seek support for themselves. And so we wanted to develop a conceptual model to try and explain some of the attitudes that can actually contribute to this. And so we did this by doing a systematic review of qualitative studies, and we did a thematic analysis and meta-synthesis. And so overall, we screamed over 10,000 studies, but landed with 31 studies that we had. And so within this model, there were kind of three key themes that contributed to the low rates of carers seeking support for themselves. So to begin with, you had kind of these stigmatized beliefs about mental health services and support services themselves. So, you know, carers thinking that seeking support was a sign of weakness, or carers not understanding what actual psychology was involved. People being like, oh, it's just talking, you know, that's not for me, and things like that. The other really key one that we had was this perceived validity about carers' own needs. So a lot of this was really heavily revolved around the idea of like, I'm not the one who's sick, so I don't need support, or no, my role within this is to care for the patient. You know, seeking support is a sign of weakness, and my role is to be strong, so I need to make sure that I then don't seek support for myself. And then finally, these two kind of themes were actually reinforced by this idea of feeling overlooked within patient-centric systems. So, you know, there was overall this lack of carer-focused services, and so that kind of reinforced ideas about, you know, support not being helpful and things like that. And then the other thing was that kind of healthcare professionals often overlooked or left carers feeling like their needs didn't matter, and so that kind of reinforced these ideas about carers' needs not being valid. And so I guess overall, the kind of key idea is that the reasons for carers seeking support or not seeking support is actually so much more than just a lack of time or resources and things like that. It's actually really some of these attitudes that are driving it. And so my PhD is kind of taking this systematic review from here, and then we're going to be developing a resource to help carers make decisions about seeking support for themselves.